and welcome to my film review of the movie The Flash. And yes, I know that I am late to this, but I just waited for it to come to streaming, and now I have watched it, and now I can give my honest review on the film. Now, for the review of The Flash, I think the main point I wanted to watch this was because of the one and only Michael Keaton Batman. We all know Michael Keaton's Batman from 1989 and from whatever year the other Batman movie came out in. So yeah, let's cover this film. Now, I think a huge problem with this movie is the CGI. I know a lot of people have said this, but that's just something that takes a lot of the film out, because there was a lot of moments where I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome, this is crazy. But then it was kind of taken out by the CGI. Like, there's a scene where it's showing all the different, like, universes, I guess you could say. And we get to see a version of Superman. And you could tell Superman and the background and everything, like, you could tell Superman was CGI. So it completely took out of that was supposed to be intense moment. It just didn't work. Some of it did, some of it didn't. A lot of it didn't, but some of it did. Like, even sometimes, like, the dirt didn't even look real. Anyways, one of the reasons I did not see this movie in theaters was because of what we all know, Ezra Miller. That's why I didn't go see it in the theaters, because I was gonna feel very uncomfortable watching the main character, who is also an absolutely horrid person in real life. Like, just terrible. But I think his performance was actually pretty good, because what you have to do when you're watching this film is you have to separate the performance from the actor who's doing the performance. So, yeah. I think I actually teared up one bit with the relationship between the Flash and his mother. And the entire plot gets kicked off by this relationship because his mom dies, and they blame it on the dad, which it actually really wasn't at Flash's dad. And now the Flash is, like, really sad about this and everything, and like, so he's like, I'm gonna go back in time, I'm gonna save my mom, everything's gonna be perfect, I'm gonna have a happy family, happy. But no, turns out going back in time completely messes up the multiversal timeline, or whatever they're calling it nowadays. But yeah, now we got introduced to Michael Keaton's Batman a lot later in the film than I actually thought we were going to. And I didn't really mind that it took that long. I was just like, dang, this is taking a while. How long is he in this movie? At first I was getting scared he was going to have, like, a cameo in it. It's like a small cameo, but yeah, so there's two Flashes. Just thought that was going to be interesting and nice to mention. Yeah, because when he went back in time, there was already a Barry Allen for that universe. So now there's two Flashes for this movie, until, like, the end, when the second Flash dies, and this one survives, the one in the middle. Oh yeah, Supergirl's in this movie, which is pretty cool. Anyways, they go to Bruce Wayne's home, and we figure out that, well, let's just say that Bruce Wayne is not doing too well in this film. He's in the past. Nobody needs him. Nobody cares about him. Nobody even know who he is really anymore. And yeah, an interesting detail is one of the Flashes mentions how he remembers seeing this version of Batman in the news, which is an interesting little callback. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool reference. So Batman's over there to help, And they're like, we have to go get Superman so he can defeat Zod. And also they don't find Superman. They don't find Superman because I'm pretty sure Superman is dead. But we have Supergirl. So yeah. And basically, this version of Barry Allen no longer has his powers, because this version basically took them because he's basically the version of him that takes place before. Yeah. So then he gets his powers back, and Zod is basically in the desert, or I'm not actually really sure where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the desert. But so they duke it out, and so there's actually a lot of references from Batman, from our man Bats in this. Because he uses his bat plane and hooks it to two of Zod's mini ships and ties them up, and then ties them around a mountain, which, if you don't know, that's a reference to Batman 1989, where Batman took Joker's balloons and tied them up into the air, and they just kind of went away, and so that was a fun little reference. And Batman actually has a pretty cool action scene where him and Zod are just duking it out. There's a whole bunch of Batman attaches a bunch of explosions to him and defeats Zod. Oh, but Michael Keaton's Batman still dies, and so does Supergirl. And the two Flashers try preventing this, but it doesn't work because they realize that no matter what happens, it will all turn out the same. They will all be decimated, no matter what it is, so they just have to deal with it. They just have to be happy with what they have and move on. And I think this was a really nice lesson that Barry Allen learned. And yeah, so after this, Barry Allen, the Flash, comes to terms and is like, I can't save my mom. She was meant to die. So he goes back to his normal time, and he returns to a courtroom where his dad is proven innocent, which is awesome. So now that's good. And turns out Barry Allen's okay now. And he leaves the courtroom, and guess what? We get a cameo from George Clooney's Batman, which is interesting. I feel like when they brought back George Clooney's Batman into this, I actually wasn't sure if it was George Clooney at first, but then I learned it was. So yeah, I thought this was a cool reference, and I think it's good that they did this, because it kind of corrects some of the things that the George Clooney Batman did. And yeah, so I'm glad we got to see so many Batman references. Got to see a good performance of the Flash. And yeah, so that is my review of the Flash 2023. If you enjoyed this video or any of my other content, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.